This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from CRM Audio for Friday, August 16th, 2019. What you need to know about the Power Platform today in 15 minutes or less. I'm Brad Kuntz.
Michal Guzowski, welcome to the Friday Power Conversation.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited that you're here. I was turned on by some of the work that you have posted out to your blog, and we'll obviously put a link to that in the show notes so that everybody can check it out. But a lot of really cool stuff that you're doing around Power Apps. So we wanted to have you on today. And first of all, just let us know a little bit about yourself and what you do. And then maybe we can dig in a little bit deeper into 10 tips that you wish you knew before you started with Power Apps.
Sure thing.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Michal Guzowski, and I'm an independent contractor, but at the same time I'm running a small company, and I'm totally in love with Power Apps and other platforms, low-code platforms from Microsoft like Flow, like Power BI, and building really quickly and efficiently solutions for organizations. Back then, like a few years later, a few years ago, I was a developer, so I know how much time I had to spend to just build a really small solution from the business perspective, but from the developer perspective, it was really big time effort to deliver something. And thanks to Power Platform, I can do it right now really, really quickly. So when I was learning Power Apps and when I was building more and more solutions, I've realized that there are few things I should have been started with, and I posted as a blog post, and those are those 10 tips that you mentioned. And my first tip is to just know the templates, because in Power Platform, when you open the platform, open the web page, there is when you click the create button, there are templates already made by people from Microsoft, and each of those templates presents already built solution, ready solution to be used. So without any building creation, you can actually see the Power Apps in the real scenario on your own environment. And you can also learn the Power Apps this way, because you can edit the Power App and just look through the formulas, the controls that are connected with the app, and that's really important lesson taken from the templates.
Yeah, those templates have been fantastic to show to customers, right? Just as a proof of concept, so they can see really how easily you can customize something and make it work for the customer. And our pre-sales team uses those all the time and can quickly get something as simple as a customer logo showing to a customer goes a long way to proving value.
Yeah, exactly. And so another tip when it comes to editing templates, there is a bunch of controls, and each of those controls contains different properties. So when you're starting with your adventure with Power Apps, there are not that much of those controls. So it requires like 10-15 minutes to just take each control and put it in your sample screen, just play with it. Those controls has different properties, and it's just awesome for me to play with each control, know how it's behave, know what functions you can do, what you can change, how you can configure it. So it opens my mind when I started to drilling through the different controls groups. It opens my mind of possibilities I can achieve using different controls, different and their properties.
And then the third thing that you wish you knew was around functions.
Yeah, exactly, because functions are actually the heart of the Power App. Controls are great, but without any logic under the cover and behind, you cannot do anything. And the functions are really the meat of every Power App, and they are very similar to an Excel function. So if anytime previously you work with Excel and use a simple function like sum for adding multiple cells, then in Power Apps it's really the same. And there are around 150 something functions, and each of them allows you to do something else, of course. So knowing them is important to build applications. And there is also another part related to functions, because functions can also take data from connectors, and connector is the fourth tip from one of those 10 tips. And connectors are really expanding the possibilities horizon of your applications, because you can then use another service capabilities in your own application.
Yeah, I tell you, the connectors are another one to me. When customers see the collection of connections, they're starting to look at some systems that they might already have in place and don't plan on replacing. It's a pretty powerful thing.
Exactly. So for instance, when my customer asked me, okay, Michael, how I can create an application and keep a file in it, or send an email from the application, I said them that you cannot do it in the Power App itself, but you can, from the Power App, you can call your OneDrive, your Outlook, your Excel, your SharePoint to just do it for you, right from your Power App. And there are over 200 connectors to really different services, not only from Microsoft, but also third parties like Google for Google Forms, or like Slack, etc.
And your fifth tip is store data in the right place. Sounds
Exactly.
simple enough.
Yeah, really simple. But actually, many of my clients came to me and say that, okay, Michael, so we've got this large database with multiple relationships, and it's not working as we expected it to work in terms of working with multiple relations, lookups, and so on. So I asked them, okay, where are you keeping your database? And the answer is in SharePoint. And actually, the first rule is SharePoint is not a database. It's great data storage. So data storage for simple lists, and it's perfect for files. But in terms of multiple relationships, I believe Common Data Service and the CDS or SQL database, which much more fit to that requirement.
Talk to me about delegation.
Okay, so when it comes to data source connections, that probably when you want to get over 500 of records from your database, then might be a situation when you see a yellow warning, that is a delegation warning. So Power Apps has a special mechanism called delegations that try to keep your connection with the data source as performed properly as possible. And sometimes it means the data source cannot gives you back all the data it has, and it will be limited by the delegation mechanism. So learning the delegation, how to work properly and delegate formulas to the data source is crucial for to keep your application properly functioning.
And this was the app. You built a Delegation Learning App, and that was the app that had been forwarded to me that really paved the introduction for us. So I was glad to see that. But I'll put a link to your Delegation Learning App in the show notes as well.
Yeah, that's really great, especially that actually each data source has support different delegation operations. So in this application you mentioned that I've done, I'm just make it as a playground and tutorial for users to play with delegation in static data, in Excel data, in SharePoint data. So the most common data sources.
Turn on advanced settings.
Yeah, this is the 7th tip. So there are some cool functions, features that people are not aware of, because those features need to be turned on in the advanced settings. And if any of you heard about components or formula bar results view, those are great features that need to be turned on. So I really advise anyone to just go to app settings, advanced settings, and just, there are like 20 extra features. You can just really quickly read all of them and decide which one of them you need.
Your 8th tip is around extra content and the old saying, do not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, because for instance, when I said that there are components in the Power Apps, there are some components that are already built by Microsoft. Those are usable components available in their one of their blog posts. And actually, they cover most common scenarios for tab control, for calendar control, for dialog box, etc., etc. So, we should just use something that other people from our great community built before us, and just use their work.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And that rolls into your 9th tip around community.
Exactly, because anytime I have a problem, I post it in Twitter in Power Users community, and every time people just in a lightning bolt speed answer me back with their solutions or their own ideas for solution. So sometimes I catch up myself that I'm spending too much time on trying to resolve something or figure out how to connect different connectors together to provide the solution. And with the crowd knowledge, I can do that really in a really short time.
And your final tip: practice.
Yeah, exactly. Because actually, in the end of the day, to be good at making apps, you need to just make the apps. You just need to build 10 of those to be good at building apps. And there is no other way around. You can read 10 books about building apps, but until you make 10 of them, you won't be as good as you probably want. So making apps is crucial for being better at building apps.
I couldn't agree more. So this is the Friday Power Conversation. Because of the time zone difference, you're getting pretty close to clocking out, as we say, on a Friday. What are you going to get into besides thinking about Power Apps this weekend in Poland?
Probably, as always, spend time with my family, just to take some time off from the work, free my mind, and be ready for next day with Power Apps.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's all for today's Power Platform Daily Brief. Power on.